Cracking the Wall, page 24 through the end. As the group drew near the school, they saw the crowd of people. The faces that glared at them were full of anger and hate. People shouted at them and called them names, but the students kept on walking. When the students reached the soldiers, they were told to go home. They were told that they could not go into the school. Sadly, they turned around and left. Melba Patilio had not even made it to the meeting place. She and her mother had been chased away by angry white men. They had to return home. Things were even worse for Elizabeth Eckford. She never got the message about where to meet the others. After praying with her family, she rode a bus to school by herself. When she got off the bus, all she could see was the angry crowd. Then she saw the soldiers standing by the school. She thought they would protect her. As Elizabeth walked toward them, someone squirted ink on her dress. A woman screamed in her face. Elizabeth tried to ignore the angry voices. She tried not to show how frightened she was. Finally, she reached the soldiers. Instead of letting her pass, they blocked her way. They pointed their guns at her. They were not on her side. Behind her sunglasses, Elizabeth's eyes filled with tears. She turned and walked away. People in the crowd pressed close. Someone shouted, "Get her." Elizabeth saw a bus stop down the street. She made it there and sat down on a bench. A kind man sat next to her. "Don't let them see you cry," he whispered. When the bus came, a woman stepped forward to help. She rode with Elizabeth to where her mother worked. For 3 weeks, the soldiers and the angry crowd kept the black students out of Central High. The students had to do their schoolwork at Daisy Bates's house. It would have been easy for them to quit and go back to their old schools, but they knew that what they were doing was right. Then one day, the soldiers left. "What will happen next?" asked Elizabeth. "Get ready for school," said Mrs. Bates. As usual, a crowd of people waited by the front doors of Central High. Policemen directed the black students to a side door where the crowd could not see them. Inside, people helped the students find their classrooms. Thelma did not feel well. Someone took her to the office, but she did not want to go home. She had waited too long to get in. "I'm not giving up now," she said. When the crowd found out that the black students were inside, they grew very angry. They beat up some reporters who were outside. The students could hear the shouts as they sat in their classrooms. The police chief was afraid that more people would be hurt. He asked the black students to leave. In a garage under the school, they got into police cars. "Get down and stay down," the chief told the students. "Don't stop for anything," he told the drivers. The cars sped away. For a few hours, the black students had been in Central High, but they had not been allowed to stay. News programs all around the country talked about what was happening in Little Rock. Many Americans were angry about it. They sent letters to the students inviting them to come to school in their towns. The President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, was angry too. No crowd could keep American children out of school, he said. He sent a new group of soldiers to Little Rock. Their job would be to let the black students into Central High. The next day, the United States Army arrived in Little Rock. On Wednesday morning, soldiers knocked on Mrs. Bates' front door. "We're ready for the students," they said. That day, the 9 students rode to school in an Army car. There were soldiers and helicopters overhead. There were soldiers everywhere. They marched with Ernest and Elizabeth and the others up to the front steps of the school. Minnie Jean said it made her feel like an American. Ernest said it gave him a big feeling. The Little Rock Nine walked right through the front doors of Central High. Melba later said that at that moment, the whole nation took one giant step forward.